Daniel Reyes lived by alarms. One at 5:10 a.m. to wake before the city. One at 6 o'clock to braid his daughter Sophia's hair just right, tight enough to last the school day, loose enough not to hurt. One at 9 p.m. to remind him that even exhaustion could not steal the ritual of a bedtime story. After his wife died 3 years earlier, time became the rails that kept his life from derailing. So when the company's end-of-quarter celebration dragged past midnight, Daniel stayed only because overtime meant groceries and because his boss, Claire Whitmore, insisted everyone attend. Claire was brilliant, demanding, and famous for her steel composure. No one had ever seen her unravel, until the last glass. It started small. A laugh too loud. A wobble when she stood. Then the room tilted around her, and Daniel saw the moment when confidence slipped into danger. He stepped in before a stranger could. He took her keys before the valet could. He called a rideshare that never came. The rain thickened. The crowd thinned. And Claire leaned against him, murmuring apologies she would not remember. "I'll get you home," Daniel said, because that was who he was. The kind of man who stayed. Her apartment was pristine, all glass and city lights. Daniel set her on the couch, fetched water, and kept his distance. He texted Sophia's sitter to stay a little longer. He documented the ride, the time, the address, habits learned the hard way. When Claire tried to stand, she stumbled. When she tried to speak, she cried. Then, with the door half open and the city humming, she reached for him. It wasn't violent. It wasn't dramatic. It was a drunk, desperate pull at his sleeve, a kiss that missed his mouth and landed on his jaw. Daniel stepped back immediately, hands up, voice calm. He said no. He said it clearly. He said it twice. Claire laughed, then frowned, then, like a switch, grew cold. The next morning, Daniel woke to a summons from HR. By noon, the office buzzed with a rumor that crawled across desks and screens. Daniel had crossed a line. That he'd taken advantage. That he'd been inappropriate. The same hands that braided Sophia's hair shook as he signed forms, as he repeated facts, as he watched trust evaporate in fluorescent light. By evening, he was placed on administrative leave. At 9 p.m., Sophia asked why he was home early. Daniel hugged her and said nothing. Hook, Chapter 2. The email arrived at dawn with 3 words that threatened to erase him as a father, a worker, a man: formal complaint filed. And this time, the truth alone might not be enough. Chapter 2, The Weight of Truth. Daniel learned quickly how silence can be louder than lies. Friends stopped calling. Colleagues avoided eye contact. A neighbor asked too many questions. The sitter quit. Daniel started walking Sophia to school, holding her hand tighter than before, feeling the world tilt. He replayed the night again and again, searching for a mistake he could undo. He gathered what proof he had: timestamps, messages, a receipt from the corner store where he bought water. He remembered the doorman's nod. The camera in the elevator. The half-open door. Claire did not respond to his messages. HR's process was slow and sterile. Words like protocol and neutrality floated above his life while bills stacked and whispers grew. A lawyer warned him that power complicates truth, that memory bends under embarrassment, that outcomes often favor the voice with the higher title. At home, Daniel wrote letters he never sent, to Claire, to HR, to the version of himself who almost walked away that night. Sophia sensed the fear he tried to hide. She brought him drawings of superheroes with crooked capes. "They're brave," she said. "Even when people are wrong about them." The hearing arrived like a storm. Claire appeared composed, pale, and distant. She spoke carefully. She said she remembered feeling unsafe. She said she remembered his apartment. Daniel corrected her softly. She said she remembered a closed door. Daniel pointed to the log. Her voice faltered. Then the doorman testified. The elevator footage played. The timeline held. The sitter's text confirmed the late pickup. The room exhaled. But the damage had already been done. Claire requested a private statement. In it, she admitted fragments, too much wine, blurred edges, shame sharp enough to cut. She apologized without meeting Daniel's eyes. The complaint was withdrawn. HR reinstated him with a memo that read like an eraser, not a repair. The office moved on. Daniel did not. He took a leave of his own, not to escape, but to choose. He spent mornings walking Sophia to school, afternoons interviewing at smaller firms, evenings cooking meals that smelled like grounding. When he returned to work, it was elsewhere, less prestige, more peace. Months later, a package arrived with no return address. Inside was a handwritten note from Claire. It did not ask forgiveness. It did not ask for silence. It said only this: "I'm sorry I let my fear become your burden. Thank you for stopping when you did." Daniel folded the note and placed it in a drawer he would rarely open. On a quiet night, Sophia asked him why he still helped people.